show that you've been hearing about all week. This is Oscar Hines. I know I'm a familiar voice here, but we are going to be introducing to you a show that premiered last week called Evolve. This is the Evolve Show. It's about evolving in your personal life, evolving in your professional life, and evolving in your spiritual life. But we don't only have that conversation. We have an amazing talent that we were blessed to have on last week. Miss Victoria Alvarado, professional psychic. So excited to hear what we're going to talk about today.
Hello everyone. Yes, I actually channeled some messages this morning from Spirit. I was like, what do you need the audience and our listeners to know today? And they just started, my ears started ringing and it just went boom, 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 boom. So.
Uh-oh, so when it starts going boom, boom, boom in Victoria's ear, we're in trouble. And also Mr. Epi Munoz is in the house. Hello, Epi.
Hi, welcome everyone to the show. Thanks for tuning in. And we look forward to having fun with all of you.
Yes. So now, Victoria, what was this? What was being downloaded to you spiritually this morning?
Well, okay. So Spirit was saying that they know that the energies have been funky for the past couple of weeks. Many of us are going through a huge energetic shift, and Spirit was saying that this shift is a sign that it's time for us to let go of people, situations, and emotions that have been holding us down. Many of us may have felt as though there's a big foot just kind of like holding us down on their back, just keeping us down and keeping us from progressing forward. And many of these people now, or myself, including other people that I know, feel like giving up or just throwing in the towel. But Spirit says that you need to just gather up your strength and pull yourself together and rise up. Okay. Spirit also said that we need to let go of certain circumstances that are holding us down, whether it's a job, a relationship, people that are negative or always complaining. They said that we need to become what we desire by changing our inner self-talk and do a relationship detox. And because this is a season of transformation. As we know, we're in spring, so it's about springing forward, yes, which means that we have to let all the stuff from the fall behind.
That's good. That's very, very good. I'm liking that. So now today's topic is fascinating to me, and I wanted to find out if we could sort of drill down on this a little bit, because I'll be with you for this first 15 minutes, because I asked you guys if I could jump in and just put my 2 cents in, and then Miss Chelsea Wynn will be here. So on the subject of what's called empaths, yes, I think many in the audience, many listening right now may be empathic, but not understand what that means. Could you define that?
Right. So as an empath, what that means is that the term empath refers to a person who is able to feel into the feelings of other people. But although this ability to feel into the emotions of other people is an extraordinary gift, it can also be a bittersweet. Okay. And the reason why is because as an empath, we have a tendency to attract two of the most dangerous and energetically abusive relationships, because empaths tend to get sucked into what we call narcissistic relationships and deal with energy vampires.
Wow,
that is heavy.
So somebody who is empathic is going to normally, we know that they're sympathetic, but then there's empathetic, and
right,
someone who's empathic feels what other people feel around them. And you're saying that they attract narcissistic people that are generally energy vampires.
Well, no, narcissist is a type of energy vampire,
okay,
but there's different types of energy vampires, which we covered in last week's show. So generally, because we feel so we have like love in our DNA, right? We feel such extreme compassion for other people that makes us a target because we attract people that are wounded.
Yes.
Right? And sometimes we don't know how to differentiate our emotions are the emotions of other people that we are absorbing. Pretty much we're absorbing their feelings, their emotions. We connect to them by an invisible umbilical cord that I like to call an energetic or psychic cord.
Wow. See, I love that, and I love that imaging, because, you know, what was fascinating to me with my daughter, when I saw she's young, and she was living with her mom in Florida, and she was the oldest of the other siblings, and she was sort of put in that position as caretaker. Mm-hmm. And I remembered when she came to live with me, she was about 15 years old. And I took her out on my bike on a daddy date, right, on my motorcycle, not my bicycle.
Okay.
So I took her out into the country. We sat down, and I said to her, sweetheart, there's two types of relationships. There's parasitic relationships and symbiotic relationships. I said, honey, you are an empath. You're going to attract wounded birds in your life.
Yes.
And it's important that you identify who is a wounded bird and who you might have an urge to try to fix, because one thing you can't do is you can't fix grown people. They're going to have to fix themselves.
Right.
Right. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
So Victoria, I'm curious, because sorry, I'm just.
Well, I'm also thinking about the Mother Teresa syndrome, because there is an actual,
Right.
A scientific term for that, as someone who wants to help everybody, but you can't help the world.
Yes.
Right. And so we have to sometimes sit back and ask ourselves, am I angry because this is my anger, or is it somebody else's anger that has been projected onto me because I feel the need to absorb somebody else's emotions? We want to heal everybody.
Yes.
And you can't.
Yeah.
Because then you find yourself energetically burned out, or you may find yourself with tons of health issues that can't be explained.
Yes, that's a big one. That's a big one. I see it all the time, because, as a health practitioner, I used to see people that they sort of absorbed someone else's energy, and they in turn became ill.
Right.
So if Epi, if you don't mind,
yes.
Epi is a Qigong instructor, as
Right.
well as Tai Chi instructor.
Correct.
And does some amazing things with energy. How could, when we encounter somebody that has this negative energy, what techniques can we use to sort of physically cleanse our bodies?
Right. Well, the breath is very important. And, of course, practicing Tai Chi and Qigong builds our internal energy. Qi means life force energy. And so when we build that energy and then we project it out, then we can protect ourselves. But, of course, it takes a bit of practice. But the breath initially is the best thing to do to calm ourselves down, both energetically, mentally, and physically. And so that is very important. Slow, deep breath, like...
How does that work? Slow, deep breath?
Very slow, deep, and then hold for 1 second, and then exhale very gently. The problem with a lot of people is that they do shallow breathing. We've never really been taught how to breathe. And so when we're excited and all this stuff, it makes you tired. It wears you out. So when you bring in your breath slowly, build up all that oxygen, then you wash your brain with that oxygen. You have to be also very careful not to do it too fast. We have a type of breath that we do that's called the warrior's breath, where you go, and that's very dangerous when you're not used to it. Your brain is not used to all that oxygen, and you can actually pass out or get dizzy.
Wow.
So that's one of the ways that we can do that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. So when it comes to empaths, how, Victoria, would you say that a person can define or know? Because some people just don't know they're empathic. All they know is they walk in a room and they start feeling a certain way. Is there some things they can kind of figure out to know?
Well, I mean, one, if you struggle to make sense of your feelings, thoughts, and emotions, sometimes you can get confused. Even confusion can be a signal of you're carrying emotions that don't belong to you, feelings that don't belong to you. The other thing is if you feel overwhelmed and emotionally oversensitive to your surroundings. I mean, in the very beginning, I could not go to Walmart. I mean, because if I walked in Walmart, I literally would be angry and drained and upset that I literally would have to leave my basket there to leave, because at that point I did not know how to shield myself. I didn't know, this was years ago, until I grew in my spirituality to understand how to protect my energy.
Wow. So a person has to learn how to protect that energy.
Correct.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes, because if not, you may give so much of yourself to other people to the point that you burn out, like I said before. And sometimes even emotional meltdown is what happens. And normally when I see my clients to cleanse them, they come in, literally I can see in their face where they look old or bags under their eyes. And once I pull that energy off and cut the cords, their face is literally brighter. You can tell.
Man, I love that. And I like that analogy. For those just joining us, you're listening to Evolve with Victoria Alvarado, Epi Munez, and Chelsea Wynn, who will be joining us here after this segment. I just have the pleasure of jumping in for this first part of the conversation, and I'm loving it. So we just talked about shielding ourselves.
Correct.
And protecting ourselves. How does one do that? Because you could be in an environment like I used to be in corporate America, and one of my staff members, I was the manager, so I had my own private office, but I had 30 representatives in the other room that were all in cubicles next to each other, and some would spew negativity. And one of my employees came in overwhelmed, and I finally told her, sweetheart, you are empathic. That's why you're having this problem. And she had no idea. So what do you do to shield yourself?
Well, for me, I bring in the pillar of light. So what that means is that I pretty much pray and ask Heavenly Father, please surround me with golden light or white light. Golden light is a lot stronger than the white light. It's still the same, but golden light is connecting to the sun, which is the ray of God, right? And so I surround myself with this golden light, this pillar of light, and I ask that only positive vibrational energies are allowed into my energy field. And I surround myself with violet flame that will help transmute, transcend, clear and neutralize any negative energies, sending it to God to be purified and cleansed. So eventually you're going to have to learn how to visualize this around you, because this visualization is very important. But even just speaking it out loud, from your mouth to God's ears, right? So it'll take place. Just knowing and believing that you're going to be shielded and protected is something that can help you. The other thing is gemstones. Carrying gemstones, or certain gemstones that will send the energies outward to shield you, will help.
For those listening in the audience right now, and I'm gonna jump in as an answer to the skeptics that are out here right now that think that, oh, this energy stuff's a bunch of hooey. Okay?
Nope.
Let me just say this, and I'm talking to you medically and scientifically right now. I was speaking with a gentleman last night that was on one of the shows. He's a doctor, and he was talking about the human body's energy. And I was expressing to him in the book that I wrote that there is evidence that we emit a vibrational frequency of 7.83 hertz from the brain. And there was discoveries made that the Earth emits 7.83 hertz from the planet.
Right.
And then he went on to add this little piece. He said, you know what? We actually have a frequency in our body neurologically that is all vibrational at 7.83 hertz. Right. But here's the kicker. When you have somebody who's negative, when you have somebody who is angry, when you have somebody who is outside of their own alignment, they vibrate at a different frequency. And that affects your frequency.
Yes.
And vibrationally, it affects your capacity to be able to sort of relate and focus and function at a healthy level.
And maintain connection with the earth.
Yes,
Exactly.
yes.
That frequency.
So I love bringing that out because you have instruments, folks, that are listening that can measure that. So
Yes.
so that is fascinating.
It's real.
It's very, very real. So for those just joining us, you are listening to Evolve, the show that's about making progress in your life. Victoria Alvarado is a professional psychic. At the latter part of this program, if you have a desire to have a mini reading, I hope, Victoria, you'll allow us to do that.
Yes.
And so the number is 832-230-5592, 832-230-5592. Don't call in yet. Just take the number down. Victoria will tell you when she's ready to do that. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, I will be making a very grand exit, and our beautiful Miss Chelsea Wynn will be coming in. She's a lot better looking than I am, and so for goodness sake, at least we'll improve the scenery around here. We have beautiful Victoria, we have the debonair Epi, and then there's me, okay? So folks, don't go anywhere. We're going to take a break. We'll be back in just a moment with Evolve here on the Synergy Radio Network.
KLVL is entertaining. KLVL is informative. 1480, we got you.
One of the biggest decisions you'll ever make in life is buying a home. Many buyers make costly mistakes. Let me help you handle that learning curve. This is LaTanya Robinson of Doug Erdy Group. We are specialists that educate our clients and will help you buy for maximum savings or sell for a great profit. Give me a call, LaTanya Robinson, at 713-471-9156. That's 713-471-9156.
Most of my family, they never graduated high school, so I'm trying to break that barrier. My daughter, Brooklyn, was also a motivation for me to go back.
And, you know, my sort of mantra on the salsa dance floor is kind of similar. You know, I tell somebody, if you make a mistake twice, it becomes a move. Okay?
Tune into Natural Nation every Tuesday at 11 a.m.
The Ad Council.
This is you over 30 years ago.
Are we there yet? Are we there yet?
And this is your mom now.
Are we there yet? Are we there yet?
Roles change without us noticing. That's why AARP gives you the information to provide even better care for your loved one. Visit aarp.org/caregiving. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
If you have too many clients, too many patients, and too much money, then this message is not for you. Find out how to increase your business by 30% over the next 6 months by calling 281-892-2023. That number is 281-892-2023. Advertising doesn't cost you money, it makes you money. Find out how by calling 281-892-2023. Call now. 281-892-2023.
This is Cesar Espinosa from Fiel Houston, and you're listening to 1480 AM and 94.9 FM.
And we are back. You are tuning in to Houston's hottest new radio talk show, Evolve, where we teach you how to heal, thrive, grow, and transform your life in positive ways. So we do have Chelsea in the house today.
Hi.
Hey.
Hi.
So we've been talking about empaths. I'm not sure if you were able to catch part of the show.
Yeah, I was.
So let me ask you: have you encountered any type of, or are you empathic? And have you met a number of people that are empathic also? Because I think we were talking, you and me, Epi, about how
Yes.
you've encountered a lot of
quite a few
empaths here lately.
Yes.
So I want to get your input on what being empathic is, because I do think you're empathic too, correct?
I feel like I am, because I definitely feel and sense people when they're around me, what kind of energy they're letting off through their personalities and stuff like that. And as an image consultant, it's something I have to do all the time, because when my clients come to me about, wanting to make that great first impression, or, looking their best and feeling their best, a lot of that comes from internal. And it comes out through how they project themselves. And so when I'm learning and coaching people, I have to sense what's going on behind the words, behind their actions. And
so do you notice that it affects you in some way?
Oh, yes, definitely. I think that people who tend to, if it's very positive, they influence me in a great way. right? They give me more energy. They keep me excited. They motivate me to continue on, thinking or dreaming or whatnot. But when they're very negative, it's very draining. And afterwards, you're just you have that yucky feeling where you don't really want to be around this person, or you feel depressed or kind of sad.
I like to say I've just been slimed.
Yeah, it feels like that, doesn't it? It definitely feels like that.
And I want listeners to know that it's not just about an empath absorbing negative energy, because we also sense positive energy, and we absorb that too.
Yes.
Of course, we don't want people getting scared away and being like, I'm just going to run and hide and just become a hermit. I don't ever want to go anywhere. And the thing is that the whole point of educating people about being empathic and how to protect your energy is so that you don't feel like you have to stay in your home and not be around people.
Or even, have those people constantly around you, because that's something we can't control other people, right? But we can control ourselves and the people we keep within our environment. I'm sure we all have heard we are the 5 people that we hang around the most.
Correct.
Have you all heard that?
Yes.
And so even with me, when I'm choosing clients, I choose not to have clients that bring me down or have that negative energy, because I can read them and I can feel what they're going through.
Well, unfortunately, I can't pick and choose. I have to help all of them. But there are times where, literally, I had a client, actually 2 days ago, that spirit just kept telling me, no.
Yeah, you told me about that.
No. And this was bad. It was really, really bad. And the first time I rescheduled them, and the next day I'm clearing my house and spirits, and I'm raising my vibration, and spirit saying, no. I said, no, they can't come. And already I heard, they're not going to show. So here it is, it's time for their appointment, and they're like 10 minutes late, and I called, and I'm like, hey, did you guys get lost? They're like, oh, no, we're not going to come in, sorry. And I'm like, okay, you could have called me,
Yeah.
But then I thought to myself, okay, it must have been really, really bad. They had really bad attachments. And there's more than just, this was like something major attachment that spirit's like, no, not today.
That's good.
It's beautiful how the universe orchestrates things. And in fact, in my journey through all of this, trying to help everyone, like you said, we can't help everybody. It's impossible. And the thing is that when you give out advice, because they request the advice, not because you're preaching to them, but they come to you and then they don't follow through. And then the next day you get a call and the same story again. So it's like a broken record over and over and over and over again. It drains you.
Right.
You don't want to deal with that.
Right.
And so I've had to fire them. I just told them, or just cut them off completely.
Right.
Because we have to put our oxygen mask and stay alive, afloat, and strong, so that we can serve those that want to be served and those that are open to receive and follow, that are coachable.
Right. We can't help anybody who doesn't want to help themselves first, right?
It's impossible.
Right. And so that's a really good point, Epi.
Yeah.
I like that.
And when I do healing for some of my clients, I'm so empathic that I feel their pain. I will have a sharp shooting, even in groups, I'll have a sharp pain in my leg, and I'm just walk by someone, I'm like, okay, there's something going on with your leg.
Wow.
Or I'll have something going on in my back. And even when I communicate with spirits in heaven, our loved ones that have crossed over, I feel their pain. They show me pain here. And again, I'm so empathic that you have to be sensitive, and I have to raise my vibration to connect to not just people on this plane, but in other realms too.
Correct. Yes.
Now you brought up a good point, is that you're actually feeling the physical feelings of others' pain, right? But would you say that there's empaths that are just on different levels? We're not. I'm not on that level like you are. Definitely, I can feel somebody's pain when they're crying or they're hurting, and you can sense behind the, oh, I'm doing fine. They're not doing fine, right? Like I can sense that, but I don't feel what you feel in that sense.
It gets to the point where I can do medical intuitive scanning. So just by tuning into the person's energy, I can tell you what's going on with your body, if you're missing iron. Or I had a client one time that I literally kept telling her, what's with fluorescent lights? And she said, oh my God, I literally went into a seizure. And it happened right after I had the fluorescent light. And so I was like, you have neurological disorder. You need to go get that checked. So I mean, the more sensitive you are, the more connected you are into the universe. And there's different types of empaths. And I was actually telling you, Epi, that you have empaths that are sensitive to animals. You have empaths that are sensitive to plants and the universe. I have evolved so much that I am in tune with all of it. I mean, even when we have the full moon or we have the time change, I get put down. And now when I say put down, I sleep. Because energetically I get sick. I can't
crash energetically.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
So, is that something that people are born with, or is it something that people can evolve and develop into?
Both.
Okay.
It's a little bit of both.
So a person like me, who's just a regular everyday person, who I think is empathic in the sense that I can sense and I have that social consciousness to understand people, but
you can fine tune that.
So how do you do that? How does the viewer do that if they wanted to, right?
Well, it's always good to study under somebody like myself that can teach you the ins and outs, because I see so many people that are just starting, and literally 1 year people that they just buy cards and all of a sudden they think, okay, I'm psychic. No, and then I have to clear them because they picked up attachments. I mean, if you don't shield yourself the proper way, if you don't shut down portals, you're going to allow entities in, you're going to allow discordant souls in, you're going to allow demons inside the house, on top of everybody else's stuff that you're connecting to. And if they don't know what they're doing and how to, then I got to step in and clear all of that. So it's always best to study under someone. And I do classes and workshops because I'm starting to, because I've had so many people approach me that wanted me to teach them, but I was just kind of like, no, but I feel like it's time.
So why would a person want to learn these things if they're not trying to, like let's just say an everyday person who doesn't necessarily want to become a psychic themselves, but they just want to feel more connected to the universe or whatever. What are the other benefits of taking classes like that with you?
Well, you pretty much said it, being more connected. That's the point, is being more connected. I mean, you want to be in tune to your higher self, right?
Absolutely.
You want to be able to connect on a level where you listen to your gut feeling. You have to trust your guides. Trusting your guides also means trusting your higher self. I like to connect to my future self when I need answers, and sometimes I get answers from spirit in different ways, but it's always good to understand and determine if this is coming from a place of love or something that's coming from something negative.
Other source, yes.
Other sources, exactly.
And I would think it would be good to learn about these things, even if it's just an everyday, ordinary person, not necessarily wanting to do energy work or anything like that, but for your benefit, because a lot of people could become hypochondriacs, believing, I knew several people like that. I grew up with people like that. Their next door neighbor had always had problems. Every single day. It was a different story every day. A novella, a soap opera. And then they pick up on that. And so pretty soon they have the same ailments the next door neighbor had, and so forth. And that becomes into a hypochondriac person. And so you have to be able to distinguish that.
Well, it's always good to develop your spiritual senses as well. I mean, you don't have to be psychic in order to be in tune. You can also, I know several ministers or evangelists that connect to a higher source, and that's what it is. It's connecting to a higher source to help benefit you in your path and your journey here on earth.
Right.
So we're gonna go on a quick break, and when we come back, we will discuss what a narcissistic is and how to even determine and gain some clarity on whether or not you are in a relationship with a narcissist.
Okay.
Good.
Okay.
Awesome.
This is Chauncey Glover from ABC 13. When you're not able to watch us live on your mobile device, be sure to stay connected to Synergy Radio 1480 anywhere in Houston, in your house, in your office, or even in your car by tuning in to 1480 AM, Synergy Radio Network, where it all comes together.
I'm a 40-year-old man that walked in there to get his high school diploma. It was very hard for me, but Miss Araceli, she gave me direction.
At age 47, Marco finished his high school diploma.
50% of getting your high school diploma is walking through those doors. The other 50% is doing the work.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
It's time to unleash your greatness. Hi, I'm Tracy L. James, the host of Unleash Your Greatness. I'm passionate about helping you eliminate the excuses that are blocking you from reaching your full potential in your life, career, and business. On Unleash Your Greatness, we will share stories of how people have overcome pitfalls and obstacles and found personal and professional success. You can use their success stories to help you unleash your greatness. Join me every Monday at 12 noon, right here on the Synergy Radio Network. It's time to unleash your greatness.
In conjunction with the 50th anniversary of the Fair Housing Act and Realist Week, join the Houston Black Real Estate Association at a Community Day Housing Expo, Saturday, April 21st, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the Community of Faith Church. Learn how to pay less to own a home than rent. You can talk with bankers, mortgage lenders, housing counselors, along with other workshops to educate you on the home buying process. For more information, our website is hbreahousingexpo.org. We look forward to seeing you there.
Follow and like us on Facebook at Synergy Radio Network.
And we are back. You are listening to Evolve, and we are actually getting ready to discuss a few signs that can help you gain clarity on whether or not you are in a relationship with a narcissist. Now, last week we talked about energy vampires, and what we were discussing earlier is that there are two of the most dangerous and energetically abusive relationships that empaths tend to get sucked into, and one is with a narcissist and another is with the energy vampire, and we described a couple of them on last week's show. But if you find that you attract these two types of relationships and that it's becoming a pattern and you're wondering why, it's because you are a highly sensitive person with the gift of compassion in your DNA.
Right.
Empaths naturally attract a lot of different types of people, and often the people that empaths attract are deeply wounded individuals, making it difficult for empaths to find authentically fulfilling relationships and friendships. So here's a couple of signs. It's not a lot. I mean, but I have to break it down because I was just telling you this morning, Epi, that when I was trying to put the show together, that literally there's so much information that I had to create a workshop to help people understand and how to combat and do a healing. And it literally would be like a 4 or 5 hour workshop. At least. Yes. So when you're dealing with a narcissist, he or she may be extremely likable and charming when you first meet them. Okay. Second, it may take you a while to discover that he or she has darker traits. And normally you don't find that out until once you've gotten married, or once you've formed an actual committed relationship with them. He or she will emotionally manipulate you into feeling bad about yourself and will frequently play the victim when you try to stand up for yourself. Okay. He or she will frequently gaslight you, and gaslighting is a manipulation technique that makes you doubt your own sanity. He or she will try to isolate you and make you distrust other people so that he or she will have more control over you. Now, he or she may be obsessed with his or her physical appearance and will display signs of extreme vanity. For example, only buying designer clothing, watches, and expensive items to show off. Okay. Now, there is more to the list, but I won't cover it all today. Like as I said before, it's like this could be a 4 or 5 hour course. But I do want you guys to be aware that narcissistic relationships aren't always romantic. They can even often be experienced with our parents, siblings, and even our friends.
At work.
Even at work,
My
yes,
goodness.
yes. And I mean, you're going to want to learn techniques of how to deal with narcissistic people,
Right.
even in the workplace as well. But at the same time, you also want to be able to learn how to combat energy vampires in these type of relationships, period, if you're an empath.
Absolutely.
And so I know I have had my share of relationships with narcissistic people. And of course, being who I am, like I said, the wounded bird syndrome, that I always have a tendency, because I feel like, oh my God, there's my next project. I can heal them.
That is.
I see their potential. I can help them, you know. And then you get sucked into this really bad relationship, and you don't know how to get out, you know.
Yeah, but see, that goes back to you having to check you.
Yes.
Like if you're feeling the need to always fix or heal, or you know, because you're naturally compassionate, but there's a difference between being compassionate versus enabling people to be dysfunctional or narcissistic in the way that they treat you.
There's a fine line.
And not having defined boundaries between how they can treat you versus how you won't allow them to treat you.
True.
Right. And so again, we're covering how we can break away from these type of toxic relationships, and that means we have to practice self-love and self-care. Create as much physical distance as you can between you and your narcissistic partner, but at the same time, I think that we have to learn to set healthy boundaries.
Absolutely. And many times it's the hardest part, you know, because you don't want to feel like, well, you're pushing for no reason at all, or you're blocking for no reason at all. But then there is a reason. Once you start looking into yourself and saying, hey, I want to take care of me, and that's not being selfish. I want to be alive. I want to be healthy. And if I allow these vampires to suck my energy, then that's not going to happen.
Right. You'll physically have a meltdown, or
Right.
have most people who are empathic end up with like anxiety or panic attacks. People who have fibromyalgia suffer from that because they're absorbing the emotions and feelings of other people that are taking from them too.
Yes, and then also when we have repressed emotions, it shows in the body, and it's aches and pains and different other things, you know, things erupt.
We may end up gaining a lot of weight too, because symbolically that's your way of putting cushion around you to protect your field.
Right.
I've heard that before.
Exactly.
That was a very interesting way
I couldn't understand
think about
that, but someone explained that to me, and it's like shielding you so that you won't be attractive to the opposite gender.
Yeah.
And so, you know,
So then you don't have
like
to
a
deal
wall.
with,
You don't have to deal with it.
Yeah, or you don't have to deal with the emotions involved with getting
Right.
hurt if you do get into a romantic relationship or
exactly.
things like that.
Yes, yeah.
You know, I think you hit on a good thing too when you said, Epi, it's not selfish to protect yourself.
No.
And I think a lot of us think that, oh, well, if I don't say yes to being with these people or going out with that person or helping them or whatever it is that they need, you feel like you're being selfish. But in the end of the day, I think we can't help anyone if we don't help ourselves first.
Right.
Right?
That's right.
If we don't fill our cup,
Yeah.
how can we fill that for others? And so
Yeah,
I think
right.
that's the more healthier way of thinking about
Absolutely.
not being selfish.
Right. Absolutely. You
Yeah.
cannot give what you don't have.
Exactly.
And so if you don't, when you're flying and they tell you, when they do the safety thing,
Right,
if
pull down the mask.
Pull down the mask, put it on yourself
Right.
first before you help anyone else. Because if you don't have oxygen, how are you going to help anyone?
Exactly.
Right. And see, you know, it's also something else about mirroring. Other people mirror how we feel about ourselves inside.
Yes.
So if you don't love yourself, then of course you're going to attract people who don't love you, you know, and then it magnifies it to the extreme, and then we start to develop even more insecurities within ourselves, and we think that if I give, then we're going to be filling our cup, and that's
or that
not,
they're going to love me,
Right,
they're going to
exactly,
accept me,
exactly.
and if others love me, then that's going to make me feel more. But then you're putting your validation of your own self-love and self-worth in somebody else's hands.
Yeah, you brought up something interesting about mirrors. When someone mirrors something, it's not necessarily that they don't love us. It's just that we don't love what we see in them.
Right.
Because they're showing us what we have inside. And it's like,
Right.
So that's another whole subject and another show.
Exactly. But as I said before, that we really need to learn how to protect ourselves if we're going to be living in this modern world.
Right.
You know, we life is about lessons. So we're all here about learning something about ourselves. And in all honesty, if the universe and the planet vibrates to 720 megahertz, is what he said. That's
7 point something
like that.
Yeah. So technically, the universe is based on love vibrations.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
Believe this name is Dr. Hawkins had the scale from 0 to 100 about the vibrations, and if you're at 500 or 400, you're vibrating to the vibration of love.
Right.
And the more that you get to this side, the more evolved that you become.
Exactly.
But many people are vibrating at 0 to 100, which is they're holding on to shame, guilt,
very low vibration,
resentment, anger. Yes, very low vibration. And if you start out by loving yourself, you're setting healthy boundaries, then I think you'll stop the pattern of attracting energy vampires and narcissistic people, or you'll be able to help them without them affecting you fully.
Right, exactly. Without absorbing their energy and keeping it for yourself. So, yes, absolutely.
Right.
You know, that's an interesting subject. There's a lot of people out there where it's hard to love yourself. So I would love to hear what you both think about what are some quick and techniques that we can incorporate in our daily lives to start loving ourselves, you know?
Well, talking about mirrors, looking at yourself in the mirror and telling yourself, I love you.
Right.
I
That's
mean,
true.
That's right.
Words of affirmation.
affirmations.
Words of love.
I am lovable. I am loving. I am loved. Or looking at yourself in the mirror and say, I love you. I appreciate you. It's going to feel weird in the beginning.
Right.
Because even if you can't tell yourself that, how can you accept that from somebody else?
Right. If you don't love yourself, you can't love anyone else, period.
Mm-hmm.
It's that simple.
What's another technique?
Say no. Learning to say no.
Setting barriers.
Putting barriers. You don't
Creating
always
boundaries.
have to. You don't have to people please. You can say no.
Right.
Sometimes people say yes all the time because they feel like, well, then if I say no, they're not going to love me, or they're not going to like me, they're not going to want to hang out with me. And you know what? So what?
Right.
You know?
Just accept that not everybody is going to love you or care about you, but as long as you care about yourself and love yourself, you don't need to get validation.
And the thing is that those people that are maybe naysayers and that are, you know, if they don't want to hang around with you, then you're probably better off anyway. So just get rid of those and then start loving yourself by taking care of yourself. Internally, physically, emotionally, mentally. Start eating right. Start cleansing the diet.
Diet's very important.
Practicing Qigong and Tai Chi, which is very, very low impact or no impact at all, and very therapeutic. And that can change everything. Because when you start feeling alive, early in the morning, start moving the Qi within you. Then you start waking up in a different mood altogether. And then you go with that, pushing that Qi out, you're starting to block already. You're starting to protect yourself and forming a good wall, good Qi wall around you.
Well, Chelsea, you know, not just on a spiritual level, but you being a professional image consultant, how do you help others?
Right.
Yeah, well, I would love to get into that as soon as we come back from break.
Yeah, so again, I'm pretty sure we want to know, how does she help everyone with their image, and help incorporate that as well.
Awesome.
Great.
So when we come back, we're going to talk about other opportunities and other ways that is not energetically or spiritual based that can help you love yourself and make some positive changes in your life.
And
You're You're tuned into the Synergy Radio Network, where it all comes together.
This is Dwayne Hines. How are you doing out there, audience? And I'm here to tell you that we are back every Wednesday with Real Talk Real Estate, 11:30 to 12. We've been gone, but we're back. We're here to give you all the real talk on real estate, the talk that you need to get what you want. Every Wednesday with Real Talk Real Estate, 11:30 to 12, here on the Synergy Radio Network.
Why was the basketball court all wet? Because the players kept dribbling on it.
The dad joke. Corny, groan-worthy, but also one of the simplest ways to share a moment with your kids.
What did the buffalo say when he dropped his son off for school? Bye, son.
So take a moment to make your kid laugh, because dad jokes rule. Make your kid laugh today. Go to fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Today we decided to walk to school. The light counted. 15, 41, 13. We took a left on Raccoon Street. There were so many sounds. I realized I forgot my homework. I hope I don't have another bad day at school.
When you can see learning and attention issues from their side, you can be on their side. That's why there's Understood.org, a free resource for the parents of the 1 in 5 kids with learning and attention issues. Go from misunderstanding to Understood.org. Brought to you by Understood and the Ad Council.
180 over 111, and I had a stroke. I couldn't speak or walk.
150 over 90, and I had a stroke.
This is what high blood pressure sounds like. You might not feel its symptoms, but the results from a stroke are far from silent. Get back on your treatment plan or talk with your doctor to create a plan that works for you. Go to loweryourhbp.org.
Head to toe, everything's changed.
Brought to you by the American Stroke Association, American Medical Association, and the Ad Council.
When you get up in the morning, lock in to 1480 and stay woke.
And we are back. You are listening to Evolve. And we were actually talking with Chelsea, asking her about how does she encourage others to love themselves through her professional image consulting business. But real quick, I want to announce that if you are wanting to get a mini reading, we're actually opening up the lines now. You can call 832-230-5592, and I will connect you to your angels and higher self, and possibly even your loved ones that are on the side. So, Chelsea,
okay,
how do you get others to love themselves or help them with their image?
First of all, I think all things start internally. So having a really good consultation and finding out what's going on with my clients internally first, and seeing where they're at in their lives and what are their goals and things that they want to achieve. And, if there is, the lack of self-love or any kind of that in their past, then we kind of talk about that, work through that. And then, it starts with the simple things as what is their self-talk? What are they saying to themselves? And I'm there to say, regardless of what's in the past, you are a beautiful person. You deserve everything that you wish to have and achieve in the future. And then we start getting into, different skills and techniques that I could teach them that can help them, give them that self-confidence every day with their appearance and their image. Because this world is a very visual world. I think we can all agree on that.
Correct.
And whether my clients are have vision or no vision, who are blind or not, people see them even if they can't see themselves in the mirror, right? And so when you teach somebody like those basic skills, such as how to put on your own hair, do your own makeup, or do your own hair, when you do those physical things, even though you may not feel it on the inside, of feeling that self-love and that you are worth it or deserve it, when you see yourself in a mirror transformed and visually feel, even if you can't see yourself in the mirror, if you can know that others are complimenting you when they see you, that already starts to lift your spirits and make you feel that self-love, right? Like you can see the change in yourself, feel the change in yourself.
It builds confidence as well.
Yeah, totally. So it's about, building your self-confidence. And then, after that, it goes into how do we decorate our bodies? How do we dress ourselves to represent ourselves to the world? You can easily walk out when you wake up in the morning in pajamas and sandals, right? But you can also, it takes more energy and more love to take the time and the effort to brush your hair, to, dress yourself in nice clothes. But the difference that makes is huge for you, because number one, it shows that you love yourself enough to take care of yourself. And number two, when you're out representing to your world, people are impressed by that.
Correct.
People treat you differently.
Yes.
People talk to you differently.
Well, because your energy is different. It's not lower.
You smell good, you look good, and people are impressed by that because they're like, wow, I really want to get to know this woman or this man, because they look put together, they look, confident and ambitious. They look, they're impressed by you.
Right.
And people want to be around people on that who do care for themselves and are, aren't embarrassed to be around. Right.
Exactly.
I mean, and so that in itself feeds upon itself, and it causes this like domino effect. So, just the simple things as everyday things that we all take for granted, just the simple things, getting ready, making sure you smell good in the morning, making sure you brush your hair, using that special lipstick, wearing that favorite color. Colors are another thing that, create energy and all that. So I think those are some really important things when it comes to image of how people can really love themselves and show people that they do care and love for
And it's
themselves.
about again, it's all about changing your inner self-talk.
Correct.
Right?
Yes.
Absolutely.
We may carry belief systems or even by watching our parents to determine how we're going to respond to other people and ourselves as well.
Right.
Right? So if we change that and understand too that, so like I said before in our last show, that people have a tendency to carry their past with them. You can't change the past.
That's right.
But the only thing that you can change is what happens at the present moment to determine what your future is going to be.
Yeah.
Right.
To help in the transition. Absolutely.
Yeah, right.
Yes.
And so, again, you have to change the inner self-talk. You have to learn to set healthy boundaries with people so that way you can stop being in this rut and this cycle with people that drain you and pull you down.
Yeah, and taking good care of our nutrition, because that is essential. There was a posting, I think it was yesterday or this morning, dealing with foods, with the additives, the coloring, all these chemicals that are being added. That's why it's very dangerous to eat prepackaged foods, because we have no clue what's in there. There are many ingredients that are not on there at all. My whole thing is reading labels now. And even when something looks really, really good, you start reading the labels, and the second ingredient right away tells you that it's a bad item, and just forget it. So we have to be very careful with what we ingest, because those chemicals affect our mood, our emotions, and everything else. And so when that chemistry starts messing with your body and your mind, it can change everything. And so that's when you start putting out bad energy, and people start getting angry, and we have no idea why they're like that. My father was a diabetic, and many times he was in a bad mood, but we never realized that it had to do with the diabetes and with all these other things. Now we're finding out, and it's like, whoa, no wonder. So we don't know where people are coming from. It's not necessarily that they're coming at us and personally, and we don't have to take it personal either.
Right.
So that's where we have to kind of...
Well, the other thing that I want to mention too is that while you're learning to set up healthy boundaries, while you're learning to have inner self-love and to connect to yourself and treat yourself better, so that the energies aren't so heavy, getting frequent clearings help.
Yes.
I see clients on a regular basis that come in that some people come every 2 or 3 weeks, some people come every 6 months, or if they wait longer than 6 months to a year, oh my God, you can imagine the energies.
You gotta scrub. You gotta scrub.
Yeah. All right, Victoria, I gotta stop you right there, because first of all, I don't even know what a clearing is, number one. So there's probably a lot of, listeners out there who don't know what that is. And so you're talking about 6 months and a year is, I've never had one in my whole life. Okay. Number one. And number two, Can you explain what is a clearing and how does it really help you?
So what I do is I channel the energy of my angels through prayer, and through laying of the hands, I pull off any negative vibrational energies that are on your body.
Hands on me if you were doing it.
So just pretty much.
Okay, how does
No,
it work?
just
no,
you don't
okay,
do
I don't do anything. I'm just gonna sit here.
You don't do anything.
Okay, I don't do anything.
So pretty much, I am scanning your energy field for any attachments.
Okay.
And Spirit's already telling me about your lower back. Have you been having some issues in the lower back area? Because I'm feeling some coldness here.
I have in the past.
Okay.
Not right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that imprint's still there.
Okay.
If you've had some lower back, is there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send healing energy to your body and start pulling out what I feel and what I sense.
Okay.
Now, being that you're sitting down is good, because normally I work with clients that are laying down or standing up, and by not touching them and clearing them, they literally, their bodies shift or move. They feel like they're being pushed or being pulled, and I feel the energy here coming out right now.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes they feel a lot lighter. So when they leave my office, after I've scanned their body for energetic cords, bondage and attachments, entity attachments, there's a list that goes on and on that I got to check for that we pull out. They literally feel tingling sensations in their body. People yawn. I've had people burp, fart. I mean, literally. I mean,
everything.
When the energy,
normal functions.
when the energy shifts in your body, it's like things happen. And they always go through a purge afterwards. So a purge may be that you may have diarrhea, you may have vomiting, you may have night sweats. But this is showing that we've literally pulled something out of your body that was toxic to your energy.
Right.
Okay.
So is it best to sit, lay down, stand?
Well, if I have another person in the room that's there, I normally ask them to stand up in case they do fall out. But I normally put them on my massage table so that way I can scan their energy field, pull stuff out, work on their auric field. And adjust their chakras if needed.
Oh, okay. And how long does the process usually take?
Well, it just depends on how much stuff they have. It can take anywhere from an hour to hour and a half. So I also do deep soul integration, which means that I take my clients into self-hypnosis and I help them pinpoint their subconscious beliefs that are blocking them. And we shift it.
Okay.
And when I connect them to their angels, they literally say that they saw color. People see colors when I'm clearing them too. They see colors. They've heard ringing in the ears. They've experienced cold chills. As I said, some people feel like they've been floating. And as I'm pulling out the energies out through their feet, they feel the heaviness moving out to the bottom of their feet. So if you would like to experience this type of healing, I will be at Ambassad's Midtown Mojo Manufacturing Company on Polk Street. If you visit my website at www.victoriaalvarado.com, I will have the posting there, the address and the event. The event's from 1 to 6 tomorrow. I will be doing mini healings, mini readings there as well at a donation-based price, lower pricing. And then you can actually feel for yourself what an energy clearing feels like and decide if you want to get something longer.
So just like taking a shower every day, we should have these cleansings or sort of scrubbings periodically.
Like every 6 months, every year?
Well, it just depends on how many negative people you're dealing with at a time. Okay. So when we're going to actually get out today, this is at the end of our show, but next week we will talk about angel numbers and what they mean and other ways that spirit tries to communicate with us.
Cool.
Follow and like us on Facebook at Synergy Radio Network.
1 in 3 adults in America have prediabetes, but most don't know it. To let people know it can be reversed before it becomes type 2 diabetes, professional basketball player Julius Randle is doing everything in reverse.
I'm only dunking with reverse windmills. I drove the whole way to practice in reverse. I don't recommend it. This move's called the reverse shuffle. I do recommend it. And it took me months to learn how to speak in reverse, like this. Years 10 almost for diabetes type 2 with living Ben has mama. In other words, my mom has been living with type 2 diabetes for almost 10 years. So together, we want to say to the 84 million Americans at risk, exercise and healthy eating can help reverse prediabetes. Start by